So in this video we're going to look at box modeling. Now box modeling is a fantastic technique used in pretty much every 3D piece of software where you take a single item and you sculpt it and you carve it and you subtract from that particular model. It's a fantastic technique to build up lots of more complex shapes. So it's very similar to the project that we're doing with the house, but in this one we're going to make some kind of furniture. So let's start with a chair and then I'll leave you guys to make maybe chairs and tables. So here's our box and we carved this in the last one. It's quite big, so it's 2 meters cubed at the moment, which is it's too big really, but it doesn't matter. All we're going to do is we're going to come to this pen tool and we're going to start drawing out our lines. So to get our chair we want 2 legs, so let's aim for having a leg here, and then we'll bring it up and then we'll cut it about there, and we can always move these points later on to get them more accurate. And then let's bring it down so we have the starting of our kind of base legs, if you like. The next thing we're going to need is the seat itself, so we're going to come across and I'm just going to click about here somewhere, and then I'm going to bring this all the way up. Now this base here is slightly too small, so what I'm going to do is click on the arrow tool and then select this base, and then using the move tool I'm just going to move it up until I get the thickness that I want. And then I'm going to press escape just to get rid of that selection, come back to the arrow tool, and the same applies here. So I want to select this one because it's slightly wider than the first one. Or actually let's do it the other way around. Let's click on this one here and make this slightly wider. And if you hold down shift we should be able to select both of these and move them together so that the leg and the base has the same proportion. So I think we'll make it about that wide, and then press escape to let go. Now we're happy with that. What we're going to do is, there's a couple of ways. So if you click on the pull push tool and you start moving it inwards, you'll notice that it's going to give us what we want, and we can kind of make a fancy corner shape here if we want to. But if you keep moving it backwards until it hits the plane, which is that point there, it says on face, what that's going to do is it's going to remove the face completely. So when you see that message on face, it means it's going to remove the face. So if I let go now, it will remove the face. There you go, voila, and that has created the first bit. Let me just undo that, Control Z. And let me show you another thing that you can do. If you don't want to move it back so it goes on face, there's another thing you can do. So let me just Control Z that, is double click. We're using the pull push tool. If you double click, it will remove that face as much as it can. Sometimes there's errors with this and you have to use the push to face one, and that's absolutely fine, but you have 2 techniques. Here we go, double click, 1, 2, and it gets rid of it. So it didn't quite work then, so let's do it again, 1, 2, and again. And it's not massively working with this shape, and I apologize for that. There we are. So when you double click, that's what should happen, and once again sometimes it fails. Let's try it on this one. So double click and double click again and it's gone. And once again sometimes that works first time, sometimes it doesn't. And if you find it doesn't work, all you have to do is push it to where it says on face, and that'll get rid of it. So now we have something that resembles some kind of chair. So let's just do this last little bit. Let's just cut out the shape here so we can make some front legs and some back legs, and then I'm going to let you have a go. If you want to be a bit more accurate, you can use the rectangle to draw on. So if I click and draw it out like this, I can use the rectangle shape. So let's get it into where we want it and let go. And then once again I can come to the pull push tool and I can just double click and hopefully that'll get rid of it. If it doesn't, just use the on face and that'll get rid of it instead. So it's still not working. Let's just do it one more time. Okay, well the other technique you can use is just by selecting it and pressing delete. You do have to be careful that you don't delete anything that you're not meant to, and in this case it's left a line. So what we'll do here is we'll just select that line and we'll delete that, and that should get us where we want to be. It's useful to check it. Now the reason that wasn't working is because we do have a little lip here. And you can still use the pull push tool and you can still adjust it if you want to get your measurements even more accurate like that. And just keep going, keep sculpting, keep moving it around. If you want to add things to it as well, so say for instance you wanted an arm, you can even, you can draw these elements on. It's not a problem. You've got so much flexibility here. So let's just draw an arm here. Before I draw it, let's copy this arm. So double click, single click holding shift then. And all I'm going to do, if it lets me, is I'm just going to copy this line. So press Control C, Control V, and I'm just going to copy it in line up here. So there we go, that's about right. And now we have two. So when we want to extrude this, we can have both selected and we can just pull them out. And there we go, we have some kind of chair. So keep going with that, see how far you get modeling your own chair, and that's going to be one of your submissions. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to add to this using curves.